Well, good morning, everybody. And I can say morning because I am pretty close on time. It is 10:30 thereabouts here on August 26th, 2020. Gosh, that sounds so strange even now. It's August of 2020 and it still is just so strange. So I am gonna get right into it. So today is classically Wednesday, ruled by Mercury. So we can keep that in mind. The rulers are still the same. We've got the Sun and Jupiter and Mars are all playing very, very powerful and in powerful position today. And the same is true, sorry, over there for the elements. The ruling element today is fire, has been for a minute. It's ranging down, down there in the corner. You can see the numbers attributed to, and welcome, Alexis. Thank you for joining me. I am explaining the elements. So down there, we've got the numbers attributed. They each kind of establish a point. It's like a point system. So we can see how much power fire has in the 50, I think it says 51. And then we also have the other elements. They're still there. They have some power at least, but they're all balanced at about 18, 15, 14, I think. So we're gonna jump into just explaining kind of what I see in the center of the chart here for today. Everything is in the same signs and everything that it has been. Of course, the moon in sidereal system is in Scorpio. So that's definitely mentionable. I've done a lot of research into astrology, meteorology, and the effects that the moon plays in these certain positions in certain signs is really huge. So whenever the moon is in the Scorpio area, and then especially when it leaves it and enters into Sagittarius, there's usually something major that happens with the weather, or something happens on Earth at that time. So it's always one of those places that as the moon, and it doesn't even matter what phase it is, it's just that when the moon is in that area in sidereal system. So and I can show you that. I'll go ahead and turn on my full display capture. Whoops, I don't know what happened there. Wait. Let's see. Hold on. There's something there's something every day, guys. There's something every day that I have to learn about what I'm doing and do things better and differently. And you know what? It's okay. It really is. Okay, let's get you right here. There we go. So now you can see what I see, and we're gonna go into the sky and I'll show you what I mean about the area, certain areas of Scorpio, and how the moon is aligned in this way. Because for those who do a lot of horoscope astrology, watching or using of the tropical system, that's great for psychology, but sidereal is definitely much better for seeing things exactly the way that they actually are in real time in space orientation. So it is first quarter. Started technically today. Today it's already past 50. So we're kind of in between these two phases today. So we've got assessing. So this is always a, interesting energy, and discernment. So it kind of is where we're at today. But this also means that in respect to what it actually means, is that in a new moon phase, the moon is in between us and the sun, and first quarter would mean that it's over on the one side or the other of the planet. So in this case today, it's right here, right in perfect position, kind of making its way around. And by the time it gets to the back of the Earth, so it'll be sun, Earth, moon, it'll be full moon. So considering that the moon, not even talking about the phases though, that the moon is facing this area of the sky, I'll turn on the names of the constellations. So you can see. Here's Scorpio, right here in the back. You can see the tail that this has. And then Libra, Virgo. So if we're looking at the moon, which is right over her, maybe this will be easier to see in realistic mode. We'll have to go visit it. Let's go visit Earth. I love this program because I can just scoot around in here and we can go fly to it to see it. And we can do that with stars, we can do that with constellations, we can do that with a bunch of things where we can just zoom over there and see. Okay, so here's the moon. Boom. Definitely in Scorpio. Look at that. Now, this is what's kind of interesting about things being in the energy of Scorpio. It can seem like you've got to dive deep or go deep, go through the abyss. And you'll notice kind of what's interesting about the mythology and how we as humans like look at information and take it in and make something of it. And then we attempt the feeling of that is really something. So we feel like we're going diving deep with Scorpio. And so when we have the moon, look at how many major stars of Scorpio that the moon is presently aligned to in the energy of Scorpio. So when anything passes over this angle, you just line straight up with it and you start moving out, and you have plenty of stars before and ahead to or about, like ahead and behind to go through when you're in the energy of Scorpio. So I think there's also some miser objects as well, which means, different kinds of galaxies and stuff. Yeah, so there's several different galaxies and objects in that direction. So there's a lot happening. And this doesn't unfortunately show black holes, at least not very many of them. So there we can't see those, but anyways, and kind of interesting as well that when we're looking at Sagittarius, kind of in this same realm of local space astrology, where we consider not only the constellations, but we consider the fixed stars as stars, like as an astronomer would look at them instead of an astrologer would look at them. And then we consider in space orientation what's around that area. So if we zoom out in this program, we can start to see the near stars of the sun. So in local space astrology, which is really kind of coined by Michael Erling, who is the creator, one of the creators and contributors to Sirius, which is probably the most popular and best astrology program there is. So if you want to know more about that, astrologyland.com is where you can start. But anyways, local space astrology considers the nearby stars and even more so the galaxy or galaxies. So it really considers everything and not just the constellations that of the 12 that is our ecliptic. So that begs the question, well then if we've got all this other stuff, yes, of course, we just started learning about it, but how do we start to make sense of that? How do we start to interpret all of that? Why then is the constellation so damn important? What's the deal? Well, if you notice that the planets, for the most part, cycle around the sun in a plane. Now, there's definitely planets that don't follow the rules, but for the most part, we all cycle around the sun on a plane, on a flat, which you can see by the grid. And this is the line of the zodiacs. So we'll start here at Aries and go around. We've got little guy Aries, then we go to Taurus, to Gemini, and notice how these are on that plane. These are crossing the plane. Then we have Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, which is really under the plane, right? We've really got Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. That's why the zodiac is the zodiac, is because these are the 12 constellations that are in line with the ecliptic. So what gets interesting about the planets, just to kind of keep going on it, is that they have different orientations or different spins within the ecliptic. So the Earth is the easiest one to consider in this, and then we'll look at the other ones because they're totally different. Okay. So if we just watch the Earth, we are on an incline and we spin. So we have a tilt and we spin. Tilted, spin. And it's the north and the south nodes, usually, that spin. And that's why people talking about the north and south nodes and stuff is a freaking big deal. Okay, and we can also see Mars as a spin. Venus is not, Mercury is not, they also don't have atmospheres. Okay, this is cool. So Jupiter's spinning. Oh yeah, Saturn's spinning. Let's go check out Saturn, guys. We're gonna go visit. Boom! So, Saturn is also on a tilt. And interesting enough, watch this. So it's on a tilt, and so is all of its moons. All of its moons are spiraling, on a new plane of Saturn, following Saturn's spin and Saturn's orbit. So that's really interesting. But also, I'm going to speed this up quite a bit so that we can see it. Oh, which one is it? Maybe it's not showing it. One of Saturn's moons goes in the opposite direction of the other moons. See, so Saturn has a whole bunch of moons. Not all of them are on here. These are the primary ones that we see on the program, but I have another program. I'll have to remember which one and bring it in another shot. But super, super interesting. So Saturn has one of its moons going the other direction than all the other moons. Super fascinating. Okay, let's stop. Just hold on. Just stop. Okay. So the other one that we can go check out real quick, that's really cool along these same lines, that just like fascinates me, is Uranus. You notice right away. So it is not, it's so tilted. It is like 90 degrees tilted in its orbit in comparison to the sun and all the other planets that are going on the plane. So this is the plane of the sun, and Uranus is literally, like, it's crazy. Look at that. There's Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. So you can see the plane, and that's how tilted Uranus is. So if you've ever seen that clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson saying Uranus doesn't look so good, like Uranus may not be, in health, like this is why. Like it's totally tilted off, and we'll watch this play out because it's also got a bunch of different moons. Some of them are listed here, some of them are not. So again, just super interesting stuff that, modern day astrologers can begin to consider and use and expand on, right? So there's a whole bunch of different kinds of objects, nebulas, clusters, star types. I mean, let's see, galaxies, galaxies, Yeah, just all kinds of stuff. Okay. So when it comes to the chart and what's going on today, we do have Moon in Scorpio, and so the challenge here is all over the place. We've got a lot of red on this chart, so we have some opposition, we have some challenges going on. Now, some of this is with actually like houses. I'm not considering that because that's by hour. So if we look at we've still got the opposition, and man, I've been feeling it, between Venus, Jupiter, and Pluto, opposition to Venus, which I talked about yesterday. And then we've got this, what is Mars is, oh, that's Jupiter. We want this square Saturn. Okay, so Mars is squaring Saturn over here. So this is that, I think it was last week that we were talking about this Mars square Saturn. So Mars is the warrior, and Saturn being like the boss. And right now, Saturn is in Capricorn. He's like in home position. He's like up at the top of the mountain right now, in Capricorn. And so the catch is that so is Mars. Mars is also at home in Aries. So this isn't so much of a challenge. It's like a remembrance of duty and remembrance of of like the role and the responsibility, and really having to deal with that. If both Mars and Saturn can play its role in full with no bickerbacker, no jibber jabbery, argumentative nature back and forth, if these two work together, we'd be in good standing. But there's a lot of challenge to that working out and actually being the way that it is, without the warrior taking off and doing his own thing, without the lead of everything, and the Saturn on his throne just losing his cool because other things aren't going right. Sounds like my life. We've also have Mercury square this moon. And so when we're talking about like activity on Earth, again, astrometeorology, the closer the planet, the closer the impact. So Moon is right up against us in Scorpio, and with Mercury being in Leo, I'd look for heat. Also with the Sun still being Leo, adding heat to anything and everything. Let's check on the Sun real quick. Really, the only thing I know that I can report about Sun today is that we have the northern pole of the Sun has a large corona hole, which is Earth facing. So what that translates to is a lot more potential for fast solar wind to be Earth directed and impact us with different kinds of storms. Okay. Oops. I want to actually do it, just not save it. Okay. So from a sun-centered view, so if we looked at the chart with the Sun in the center instead of Earth at the center, then things change a little bit. Things are just in different positions than when you look at it from geocentric. So from the Sun's perspective and the Sun's activity and what it's presenting to the whole solar system, as it sprays its solar wind, as it loops and bounds, as its filaments spray off, as CMEs erupt, as solar flares go off, all this stuff, it doesn't just affect Earth. It's going out into the entire solar system. And in earlier episodes, I was quoting that the Sun had a field that went all the way out past Saturn. And so in further research, I've recently realized that actually, I was a little miscalculated. We now know that typically the sun goes all the way out and encompasses the largest field that the sun utilizes all the way out, like past the Oort cloud, which isn't the asteroid belt or even the asteroid belt that's around the solar system, but like ranking on the, it's massive. It's way more massive than I thought. It does shrink down during solar minimum, but just like other fields and things, we've got these different layers of influence that occur. But yeah, the sun's field is just like way more than I had originally thought so I'll just correct myself on that. But so to think that the every bit of Earth's activity that we're now seeing and we're now documenting, we can look up on ISOL search and we can look up on NOAA and we can look up at the Solar Discovery Center, like observatory, sorry, it's just realizing that it's not just Earth, it's the whole thing. And so for astrologers, that should be a big deal. Watching the sun for astrologers should be a big deal, because we know scientifically that the activity of the sun is impacting the planets, and for astrologers this should be a big aha moment, because if it's an astrology, you have to ask how. We have never come close to understanding what those answers are. Now we're coming close to really understanding why astrology has worked. So I'm going to leave it at that, because it's just a really good stopping point. And I'm just going to take a moment to say thank you for watching. If you like my rampages and these daily episodes, please subscribe. And if you would like to join me live, you can head over to Twitch and follow there, and then you'll be notified when I go live, which is typically in the morning between 10 and 11. At least until I move and I get into a better system and I know what my life is going to be like. So thanks for hanging in there with me, and I appreciate it. All right. Peace out.